Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today is the day that I'm gonna start the second part or the second lecture of Isopanisad. And yesterday I just completed the introduction. Today is the invocation. So let's begin without wasting much time. Om Purnam Adha Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Adachyate Purnasya Purnam Adhyaye Purnam Eva Vaishishyate. That means the Om, that is the complete whole. Purnam, perfectly complete. Ada, that. Purnam, perfectly complete. Idam, this phenomenon world. Purnat form, the all perfect. Purnam, complete unit. Udachyate is produced. Purnasya, of the complete whole. Purnam, completely all. Adya, having been taken away. Purnam, the complete balance. Eva, even. And the final word, that is Avasisyate, is remaining. The translation is the personality of Godhead is perfect, complete, and because He is completely perfect, all emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced in the complete whole is also complete in itself because He is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. So here it is that we all human beings are complete. Okay, no one is incomplete. They have hands, legs, and some kind of that, but and it's complete. But some people, you will argue now, some people are defective. Some people have no arms, no legs. That is because of the karma or the accident they have met in their life due to some reasons, and maybe some other like diseases and can be the factors of this. Therefore they don't have hands. But when a body is created, that is created in whole. Okay, so that is whole because the God is whole. He creates everything is whole. So our soul is also whole, but our materialistic body, okay, some have whole but some have not. But whatever it is, I'm sorry for those who haven't have everything, but that is materialistically things, that is incomplete. But the soul is complete within everyone, so that is the whole. Okay, whatever the whole means, so to that person, he is whole. Okay, he has everything in him. That is the whole for himself. But to us, it seems like no, he's not filled, he's incomplete. No, everyone is complete. And therefore, purport is the complete whole or the supreme absolute truth is the complete personality of the Godhead. Realization of the impersonal Brahman or of a Paramatma, the super soul, is incomplete realization of the absolute complete. And the supreme personality of Godhead is Satchit Anand Vigraha. Realization of the impersonal Brahman is realization of his Sat feature or his aspect of eternity, and Paramatma realization in the realization of his Sat and the realization of his features, his aspects of eternity and knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead is the realization of all the transcendental features, Sat, Chit and Ananda, bliss. Okay, Sat, I would like to define that it is completely a behavior in which the person or the organism is in state of goodness, and he's now going forward to achieve God or God back to the Godhead. Okay, Chit means the mind or the brain, and Ananda is the bliss. It gives a complete bliss. It's happiness. And when one realizes the supreme person, he realizes these aspects of the absolute truth in their completeness. Vigraha means form. Okay, so this is the form, that is the form that we take care about every day. We wake up and we take care of those vigraha because we feel that yes, there is God inside it. So it's a kind of paying obeisance to the vigraha. Thus the complete whole is not formless. If he was formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other ways, he could not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything both within and beyond our experience, otherwise he cannot be complete. The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies, all of which as complete as a whole. Thus this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. The 24 elements by which the material universe is temporary manifestations are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of the universe. No other unit in the universe need make universe functions of its own time scale, which is fixed by the energy of the complete whole. And when that schedule is completed, this temporary manifestation will be annihilated by all the facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings. We are that part and parcel of that entire complete whole. We are just the small things, and we have to achieve that. We have to go back to the Godhead. All forms of incompleteness and inexperience due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. The human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living beings, and it is obtained after evolving through 8 million 8,400,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. That is in India, that is called 84 lakhs, but in English system it's 8,400,000 species. And if in this human life a full consciousness of the living entity does not realize his completeness in the realization of the complete whole, he loses the chance to realize his completeness and is again put into evolutionary cycle of the law of material nature, because we do not know that there is a complete arrangement in nature for our maintenance. Therefore we are unable to predict anything. We make our arrangements in nature for our maintenance. We make efforts to utilize the resources of nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment, because the living entity cannot enjoy the life of the senses without being dovetailed with the complete whole. This misleading life of sense enjoyment is an illusion. The hand of body is a complete unit only as long as it is attached to the complete work body. When the hand is severed from the body, it may appear like hand, but it actually has none of the potencies of a hand. Similarly, the living beings are a part and parcel of the complete whole, and if they are severed from the complete whole, the illusionary representation of the completeness cannot fully satisfy them. The completeness of the human life can be realized when one engages in the service of the complete whole. All the services in the world, whether social, political, economical, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, the attached parts and parcels also become complete in themselves. Therefore, if a person doesn't have hand, does not have knees, legs, if he is incomplete in some other way materially, but he will feel completeness if he only gets dovetailed to the supreme personality of Godhead, and that is Krishna. Okay, that we have to be in some way connected to God, so that we can feel the bliss. And how can we know about God? The God we know is from the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Shastras, which tell much and much about the God. What is God? What we love is God. Okay, so in this sense, yeah, one has to realize that this materialistically body parts can be incomplete, but our soul is always completed because we have a connection with God. We have to be dovetailed with the God. We have to follow God. We have to love God. That is the one. Let's now talk about mantra 1. That is Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat तेना त्याक्तेना भुंजितः मा ग्रदः काश्यस्विद dhanam. Translation: that is, everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Isha, by the Lord. Avasyam, controlled. Idam, this. Sarvam, all. Yat kincha, whatever. Jagatyam, within this universe. Jagat, all that is animate and inanimate. I would like to stress on the words animate and inanimate. Inanimate, that is the things which doesn't have life, and animate which has life in itself. So that is animate or inanimate, living and non-living. Tena, by him. Tyak tena, set apart. kota tyaktena, that is being said apart. Okay, so bhunajitaha, you should accept, that you should accept whatever it is. Ma, do not. Bradha, endeavor to gain. Kashya, swith of anyone else. Dhanam, the wealth. So therefore, our author, our creator, has made it quite literal and with the meanings. So the he says that everything animate and or the inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. That is absolutely true. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself. That is, of course, true. I would set an example that if you are not hungry and you eat something, especially students at the night when they have already had their dinner, but in the mind there's some things like if we munch onto some things, then we will feel good, or they felt hungry just after dinner. So that is the extra things, that is the mind which controls, that is not the body, that is not the brain. So therefore we should take the things that is only for us, that is only for our quota, nothing much more. And one should not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong to. And now here comes the purport. Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession. Yes, this is one thing which I want to stress upon. Disciplic succession is like when you go to school, or when you say leave it, when you first get to school, you whatever you learned was very initial stage was 2 plus 2, that is equals to 4. But have you asked your teacher that why does 2 plus 2 4? Can you show me? Can you prove it to me why 2 plus 2 is 4? Your teacher will not be able to, because he or she has learned the same thing from their teacher. So therefore it is a disciplic succession. I think I have made it quite clear that what is disciplic succession means. Of spiritual masters begin with the Lord himself. Since he spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words spoken by the Lord are called apaurusia. It's apart. Okay, it's away from us. It's like it's bliss. It's a complete bliss far away from this material world. It's a complete thing. It's apaurusia, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. That is true. It's not delivered by any mundane person. It's delivered by the personality of the Godhead, the highest personality of Godhead, that is Krishna. A living being who lives in the mundane world has four defects, as it was discussed in the introduction part, that he is certain to commit some mistakes, he is subjected to illusion, he has a propensity to cheat others, and his senses are completely imperfect. They are not in the hands of control. No one with these four imperfections can deliver perfect knowledge. The Vedas are not produced by any such imperfect creature. The Vedic knowledge was originally being imparted by the Lord in the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples, who have handed in down the history. Since the Lord is Purnam, all perfect, there is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature which he controls. However, both the living entities and inanimate objects are controlled by the laws of nature and ultimately by the Lord's potency. This Isopanisad is a part of the Yajurveda, and consequently it contains information concerning the proprietorship of all the living things existing within the universe. The Lord's proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verses 4 to 5, where Para and Apara Prakriti are discussed. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego all belong to Lord's inferior material energy, Apara Prakriti, whereas the living energy, the organic energy, and his superior energy, para prakriti, both of these prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the para or the para prakriti. Therefore everything is the property of the supreme being, because the supreme being, the absolute personality of the Godhead, is a supreme person. He has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies. The supreme being is often compared to a fire, and everything organic or inorganic is compared to the heat and light of the fire. Just as the fire distributes energy in the form of heat and light, the Lord displays his energy in different ways. He thus remains the ultimate controller, sustainer, dictator of everything. Dictator here is not someone who is fighting, or the people in the history we have noticed, or they have their unrightful actions, that is Hitler and Kim Jong Un. So it's not like them. The knower of everything and the benefactor of everyone, he is full of inconvenience, opulence, power, fame, beauty, and knowledge and renunciation. Here, the dictator, that means that he has opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. And dictator is also someone who dictates something. So he is also the dictator of the Vedas. Therefore, in that sense, he is a dictator. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is a proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. For example, that we are not allowed to eat meat, okay, or to have illicit sex, and other two features like being truthful to others, and it's like we have to illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication. These are the few points that we have to mention, because Lord is not indulged in all these things. It is us who get indulged in all these materialistic attributes. What is for the Lord, and we should the things which are kept for the Lord, but which are given to Lord, we should only have those things, because that will promote us to a sense of goodness, to a sense of accessibility, credibility, intellectual performance will grow up. The cow, for instance, gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as a food for human beings. Such is the arrangement of the Lord. Oh dear, this is such a good arrangement. Thus, we should be satisfied with those things that He has kindly set aside for us, and we should always consider to whom those things we possess actually belong. Take, for example, our dwelling, which is made of earth, wood, stone, iron, cement, and so many other material things. If we think in terms of Sri Isopanisad, we must know that we cannot produce any of this building material ourselves. We can simply bring them together and transfer them into different shapes by our labor. A laborer cannot claim to be a proprietor of a thing just because he had worked hard to manufacture it. We didn't manufacture our bodies. How can we claim that we are the body? We can't even say that yeah, this is our body, or even the doctors cannot even say that yes, this is their body that is actually working. It's not. And whatever the science is inventing, the sensory, the nerves, or the metal hands, or the metal legs, which is quite famous in the internet these days, and these experiments are going good, but that has no life. It is dead. The sense is coming from the man who does not have a hand or whatsoever. That sense is being eternal. That sense is given to by the Lord. So how can we claim that we are the body? We are a complete soul. We are the soul from Him. That is the complete thing He has given to us. That is the everything. Okay, so this is the thing, that when we make a house, we shouldn't say that yes, it's my house. No, it's God's house. It's because God grace you have made that money and you have made that house or whatever it is. It is of God grace. It's only because of God's grace and no one else. You are feeding your children. You are feeding your wife. You are feeding your husband. It's not because of you. It is because God has made it simple for you to earn that money and feed your family or children. Okay, In the modern society, there is always a great quarrel between the laborers and the capitalists. The quarrel has taken an international shape, and the world is in danger. Men face one another in enmity and snarl just like cats and dogs and leopards and cheetahs. Sri Upanishad cannot give the advice to the cats and dogs, but it can deliver the message of Godhead to man. Through the bona fide acharyas, the holy teachers, the human race should take the Vedic wisdom of Sri Upanishad and not quarrel over material possessions. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. This is what I am speaking. Mercy of the Lord. It is the mercy of the Lord that we possess that material possessions that privileges us to possess all those things, but it is only by the mercy of the Lord. It is not by his mercy. Okay, so there can be no peace in the communist or capitalist or any of the other party claims proprietorship over the resources of nature, which are entirely the property of the Lord. The capitalist cannot curb the communists simply by political maneuvering, nor can the communists defeat the capitalists simply by fighting for the stolen bed. If they do not recognize the proprietorship of the supreme personality of the Godhead, all the property they claim to be their own is stolen. Consequently, they will be liable to the punishment by the laws of nature, nuclear bombs, and in the hands of both communists and capitalists. And if both do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that these bombs will ultimately ruin both parties. Thus, in order to save themselves and bring peace to the world, both parties must follow the instructions of Sri Isopanisad. Human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance and aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin, but if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished. The standard of life for human beings cannot be applied to animals. The tiger does not eat wheat, rice, and drinks cow's milk, but he has been given food in the shape of an animal flesh. But it's not like us. Even our digestive system is not created to digest the meat. Our digestive system is created to digest the veggies. Okay, and among the many animals and birds, some are vegetarian and others are carnivorous, but none of them transgress the laws of nature which have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Animals, birds, reptiles, and lower life forms strictly adhere to the laws of nature. Therefore, there is no question of sin for them, nor are the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone is a life of responsibility. It is wrong, however, to think that simply by becoming a vegetarian one can avoid transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life, and while it is nature's law that one living being is the meat to feed on the other, for human beings the point is to recognize the Supreme Lord. Thus, one should not be proud of being a strict vegetarian. Animals do not develop consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but a human being is sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working. And therefore, if a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and becomes his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only of the remnants of the food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian foods and from the hands of a pure devotee. That is in verse chapter 9, verse number 26. Therefore, a human being should not only become a strict vegetarian but should also become a devotee of the Lord. Offer the Lord all his food and then partake of such prasadam or the mercy of the God. Yes, God doesn't eat, but he blesses us in the form of mercy, that with his prasadam, or that is the remnants of the food we offer to the God, that is termed as prasadam or the mercy of the Lord. Only those who act in the way can properly discharge the duties of the human life. Those who do not offer their food to the Lord eat nothing but sin and subject themselves to various types of distress which are results of sin. The root of sin is deliberate disobedience of the laws of nature through disregarding of the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to the human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature, who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment of the aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to the eternal home. So here I think I have completed the mantra 1 and the invocation. So here I am going to mention that when we leave these four qualities, like or we follow these four qualities, like in suppose there is no intoxication, that means no drugs, no liquids, no sir, not the wine or these things that intoxicate the mind, no intoxication, no illicit sex. No illicit sex means for the people who are even married, they shouldn't have sex in order for the self enjoyment. They should have sex for only creation, only for baby creation or children creation. They should have sex. And illicit sex with others other than, if a non-married, he should completely follow celibacy. If married, only for producing children, that should be done in the first instance. Okay, and there is no intoxication, no I can say that illicit sex. And here comes truthfulness. You should be truthful to yourself, okay, truthful to others, take care of others. So that are the main things in life that you should follow. I am just forgetting two more steps, that what two more steps are actually. So let's, and the fourth of all, people shouldn't eat meat, because meat is something which is obtained from other animals and it's a flesh, it's like killing other animals. Okay, so that's a very bad thing. And of course we should offer everything to Lord. Our power, everything is Lord, no one else. And if you like my things, please like and subscribe the channel. And I would like that if someone wants to donate, please ping me up in the comments. This is for a good cause. Please, and we will help the people. I will share it in the community post, and I will upload in the via screenshots and everything, that whatever it is. So please, please, please try to understand and subscribe. Thank you.